you to be able to watch. And then if we have a day that we don't have school, I've got the old ones from last semester and stuff, so I'll probably pull out one of the older integrity videos for you guys to be able to watch. Let's see, the test analysis and correction form, we'll talk about that at a different time. The reference sheet in your guys' books, some of you will have a reference sheet. If you don't have this reference sheet, print it. You'll want to use it. It's got several pages of stuff. This will be what's available to you, and I don't remember where it's hiding in your guys' books if it's there. Most of your books probably don't, because if it's used, the person probably kept it for their own reference later. This is what I will let you guys use on every test. I will give you a copy when it comes test time. That way I know for sure that there's nothing written on your guys' copies. But I would get used to using this as you do your homework and stuff. The first 2 chapters, I don't know that you'll need it. Chapter 3 is when we really get started in using the reference guide. But that reference sheet's here under content on Blackboard. That way you can print yourself a copy of it to be able to reference back to all the time. And let's see. I also have our PowerPoints out there on Blackboard. So if it helps you to have those PowerPoints already printed out, and that way you can just fill in the missing blanks, that's available for you to be able to use. I've got it by section so that you can look at our schedule, see what's coming up, and have the things printed that you're going to want to be able to use. And I think that's the main things. And right here's where you can see the integrity classes and be able to click on those to be able to watch any of the old ones. All right, looking over our review worksheet, or not our review, our syllabus. I've got my contact information here. One thing I do want to point out is, that's hard to see. Let me make it a little bigger so you guys can actually see what I'm looking at. A couple things I want to point out. One, I am over in Geyer Hall is where my office is. It's in that little section that's got 3 of us math teachers all sharing section 106. Email, if you do email me, make sure you put the R in here. I am TR Welch at the rest of that email. If you leave out the R, obviously I'm not going to get it. There used to be a Teresa Welch, then she's no longer an adjunct here for us, so I think it just goes out into nothingness and should come back to you as undeliverable. But either way, I don't get it from you, so make sure you check that. Then I do have my office hours listed. I will be in the ARC on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 12. So if you're wanting to specifically catch me whenever you're trying to get some help. The one challenge with statistics is, for some reason, a lot of you wait until you're about ready to graduate before you finally take statistics. So trying to get a tutor to be able to be in the ARC for stats is challenging, because by the time we finally get you through the class, everybody's just about ready to graduate. So there's not as many tutors over in the ARC for stats as there is for the other classes. I still encourage you to spend some time over there. A lot of the tutors can still kind of help you out with stuff. Show up from 11 to 12 in the ARC, better idea. Come to my office during my office hours. I do have space out in front in that, like I said, in 106 we've got 3 of us offices, and we've got some tables and chairs out in the central section that you guys can sit at and work, and then if you have questions, you can just ask me as you go along. Questions there? Course description, I'll just let you guys read through that on your own. I'm not going to read that to you. Prerequisites, should have had those before you got in here. This is a 3-hour credit class. This does count as your general ed math if you are working towards your associate's degree. Textbook that you will need should be the Triola textbook that looks like this one. You will also need to have a graphing calculator. I highly recommend using the Texas Instruments, either the TI-83 or the 84. Those are the ones that I know where all the buttons are for being able to do the stuff for statistics. A lot of the other graphing calculators have it. It's just it may take us a while to find the trick to get the things that we need. We will use our calculators a ton in this class. One thing you'll frequently hear me going through and doing is we'll go through step by step by step how you do this stuff by hand, and then I'll say, and here's the calculator shortcut. Because a lot of this stuff, it's tedious. I mean, when you're looking at statistics, you're taking a big set of data and you're trying to generalize it and make some sense out of it to use it for comparison purpose. So you're going to have a lot of information that you're trying to work with. And I mean, something as simple as even finding the mean. same thing as average. Trying to add all those numbers up and divide that by how many there are, if you put one number in there wrong, you've totally messed up your mean. So when you're looking at doing these, that's a short process compared to some of the things that we'll be doing. And so you're going to want to make sure you have it in there accurately and using the calculators to do it. If you're going to be using statistics in real life situations, you're going to use the technology available. Honestly, most of the time it won't even be the calculators. Most of the time you'll use some of the computer software. There's a lot of good statistics software out there, but I won't let you use the software on the test, so I'm going to let you use the calculators on the test. Therefore, calculators will be the method I'm using to show you guys as you're doing things. So make sure you have your calculator and bring it to class, because I will be showing you how to use it during class time, and you're going to want to practice it during class time, so then when it comes time to do your homework, you know what you're doing. Student learning objectives, I've got those connected to where I'll be assessing those. So I'm looking at the tests, different tests, to be able to assess that you have mastered those SLOs. Course outline, we're going to start with Chapter 1, which is just kind of an introduction to statistics. Then we'll go to Chapter 2, which is summarizing and graphing the data, and Chapter 3, which is statistics for describing, exploring, and comparing data, and then we'll take a test covering Chapters 1, 2, and 3 together. So our first test is actually not for a while, because we get a lot of, Chapter 1 especially is a lot of new vocabulary that you're not familiar with. Most people have had some introduction into a lot of the algebra stuff, but statistics, you just barely get a little taste of. And so you've got a lot of new vocabulary we're going to be working through doing. One thing I highly recommend is reading the chapters, and I highly recommend you read the chapters before we go over it. So before you come to class next time, reading the first, I think it's the first 2 sections, 2 or 3 sections, I think. Read the first 3 sections of Chapter 1. And that way you've heard the stuff, or at least read the stuff, and have a basic idea of what it is. And then when I discuss it, hopefully it helps fill in some of those details versus it's the first time you've ever heard those words. And it's a lot of information coming at you fast. So read the stuff ahead of time. The book does a good job of describing a lot of the stuff. And then, like I said, as I'm going through and working through some examples and really talking about it, hopefully it helps fill in some of those holes. Then after we do that, we'll do Chapters 4 and 5. So we'll work with probability and the discrete probability distributions, have a test on Chapters 4 and 5. Chapter 6, if I'm remembering correctly, Chapter 6 is its own section, own thing we'll do with the normal probability distributions. Then we'll have another test on Chapter 7, which is the estimates and sample sizes. Another test on Chapter 8, which is a hypothesis testing. And then we'll put Chapters 10 and 11 together. From Chapter 10, we only do 2 sections, and from Chapter 11, we only do 1 section. Questions on kind of an outline of what we're doing? All right, course requirements. Go through and explain to you how I will be grading things. So that's one of the key things that we always want to look at. Overall, in general, and this is on all of our syllabi this semester, is I do expect for every hour you're in here, you're going to spend 2 hours preparing for it. Part of that is going to be doing the reading, and that way you have that background of what kind of information we're talking about. The other part is going to be working on your homework. You can pretty much count on having some statistics homework every night. And most of the problems I give you, not all, but most, are odd numbers, and the answers are in the back of the book. So we'll be doing homework coming from the textbook this semester. Most of the answers are in the back. Check your answers, but please don't use the back of the book to just get the answers, because that's not helping you learn anything at all. So the homework is your practice. That's where you're getting the idea of what you're supposed to do, making sure you understand what you're doing and learning that information. So make sure you're doing that practice. The way I grade homework is based off of completion in here. And so I will give you the homework problems to do. You will go over and answer any questions you have during class time, and then I'll collect those. Each assignment that's turned in completed and on time will get 2 points. If you turn it in late, you get 1 point. If you turn it in partly done, half done or so, then you can get a point. If you just do one problem, you don't get anything. And if you don't show work to go with it, you don't get anything. Sometimes that's kind of challenging to see how much work you need on those, because there's going to be some problems that you'll look at and they're just, thinking them through kind of problems, and you'll just write the answers down. There's a lot of these that don't have a whole lot of work to have to show, step-by-step showing, that you'll be, like I said, you'll use your calculators on quite a few things also as we go along. So do your homework. That's where you're practicing. That's where you're learning. Homework will total as a 100-point test item at the end of the semester. We will not have 50 homework assignments to where it adds up to being 100. I'll convert it to a 100-point test item. So I'll be keeping the average for your homework, and I'll take that homework average, which will be the 100-point, same as 100%, and just convert that into that 100 points when we get to the end of the semester. We'll also have extended problems. The extended problems are a little bit more complicated kind of problems, little more is required out of you as you're doing the extended problems, and they just sort of build on that stuff that we've been learning. So every time we have a test, there'll be an extended problem that's associated with it. They will also end up totaling into being a 100-point or being converted into a 100-point test item. So those are like little mini projects is basically what the extended problems are. Questions about either of those? Oh, and with homework, I didn't mention homework. I will accept homework over that section until we get to its test. So I'll take homework from chapters 1 through 3 until we get to that test. Once we start chapter 4, I'm not taking any of the old homework after that. So once we've tested over that item, we won't be having any homework. I won't accept any homework from that section anymore. Most of our tests will be in class in here. So for those of you that have had me for intermediate algebra and we tested in the ARC, I won't be doing that this semester. I won't be doing that with this class. Other than, I think there's one time that I'm supposed to be at a meeting on the day we're supposed to have a test, and I think that's this class that I end up testing over in the ARC during that time. But most of our tests will be in class. Questions so far? All right, our exams will have 6 different tests, so 6 different exams. Each of those will be 100-point test items. Obviously, if you're showing me the right work, you can get partial credit as you're doing those. So it's not just completely right, completely wrong. It's based off giving me that general idea of whether you have a good idea of what's going on those or not. Different problems on the test will be worth different values. You can get the opportunity to do test corrections if you go to the ARC or the SSS or my office and get some tutoring help. It takes 3 blue slips to be able to do test corrections. So 3 different 30 minutes or more times with a tutor available to be able to do those test corrections. So if you're working over in the ARC and you're doing your statistics for 30 minutes or more, you've got that tutor available to help you out, get a blue slip. Like I said, the biggest challenge with that is getting over in the ARC when there's a tutor available, and I haven't had a chance to check with them to see what the schedule is and who has statistics knowledge and who doesn't. Shelby, you're still tutoring, aren't you? Shelby's a tutor over in the ARC, so working together with her when she's on duty might not be bad. Like I said, I'll be over there on Tuesday, Thursdays. Mrs. Swint has taught statistics in the past, so she would be another good resource, and she's there Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. I think she's there from 12 to 1 is when she's there. So right before this class, well, I guess not right before this class, but not. It was 11 to 12. It's 11 to 12 because she was back for a little bit before here. So it's from 11 to 12 is when she's over in the ARC. So there are some people there that you can get help from. Unfortunately, not as many as if it was college algebra. But if you have 3 blue slips, then you can do test corrections. If you do test corrections, you can get back 1/4 of those points that you missed. So if you get a 80% on the test, 1/4 of the 20 points you missed means you can get back 5 points and bring yourself from an 80 up to an 85. We will have a multiple choice final exam. So all 40 questions are multiple choice to total 200 points. It is going to be a 200-point final, so the final counts as 200 points no matter what. But along with having that final counting as its 200 points, it can also replace your lowest test score. So if you have one really bad test, I should reword that, your lowest 100-point item. So if you have a bad test, it can replace the lowest test. Your extended problems and your homework also are both 100-point items. And so it can replace either one of those also. I do not offer makeup exams. So if you are gone the day of the test, and like I said, most of the time our tests will be in class on those days that we have them. If you're going to be gone on the day of the test, make arrangements ahead of time. If you make prior arrangements with me, then we can work that out. But if it comes test time and you send me an email or call me and say, I'm sick and I can't be here, my words will be, I'm sorry, but that will be a 0. but the final can replace your lowest test score. And obviously, if you miss a test, that 0 is your lowest test score, and that would be the piece that would be replaced. Questions on anything dealing with grading? Okay, grading scale is just your traditional 90, 80, 70, 60 scale. I do expect you to be here. I take attendance every day. I do not give you points based off attendance, though. So your attendance does not directly affect your grade. Obviously, not being here in class, you're going to miss out on the discussion and the questions and the learning that's taking place during class, so that can inadvertently affect your grade. But it's not a direct impact onto your, or a direct score in the grade book. As I said, though, I do record things on Tegrity, so if you're going to miss class on, sometime, watch the Tegrity recording that goes with it. If you are not going to be successful in a class, it is best to withdraw from a class versus just stop showing up and taking the F, because most of the time withdrawing from that class, well, it always does not affect your GPA. It does affect your completion rate, but it usually is better for you to withdraw than it is just to get that F on your transcripts. Most people, future employers, look at W's a little bit better than they do looking at those W's. Either one, though, if you get fail class or if you withdraw from a class, does affect your completion rate, which can affect your financial aid. So if you're getting financial aid, then you might want to talk to them before you choose to withdraw from any class. But you do have to go through the appropriate withdrawal procedure to be able to get out of a class. Additional information, I highly recommend you take notes. I highly recommend in here that you print off those PowerPoints ahead of time, because it's going to give you the different definitions and the basics, so you're not scrambling to keep up with me, because I can talk kind of fast sometimes, and I try not to go too quick, but having those base parts of your notes and just filling in some of the blanks is much easier. Highly recommend that you guys read the chapters ahead of time. Math has to be studied on a daily basis, so make sure you spend the appropriate amount of time. Again, I'm expecting you to spend 6 hours every week outside of class working on statistics. That's why we say if you're taking a full load, so if your traditional college load is 15 hours, that's an extra 30 hours every week. So we're looking at 45 hours is kind of what we're expecting that's being spent. That's why it's considered a full-time job as you're doing things. So make sure you're spending the time, not just in here, but in all your classes, so that you guys can be successful. I do expect you to be respectful. Part of that being respectful is being respectful with what you're using with your phones. I don't want to hear them. I don't want to see them. If you're in here, have your phone on silent. Please do not text, because that's not only disrupting and distracting you, it distracts the people around you, plus it's just rude. So don't be texting during class. If there's something that you just have to take care of, somebody's calling you and you realize that's an emergency, get out of my room before you say hello to them. So quietly get up, leave, preferably go on down the hallway where we don't hear you, take care of what you need to take care of, and then just quietly come back in. If you have to go to the bathroom, don't ask me. Just quietly leave, take care of whatever you need to take care of, quietly come back in. Try to be respectful to your classmates. So the least distracting you can be as you're coming and going the best. So don't interrupt class to ask if you can go do something. Just take care of what you need to. If NCMC closes, they do post that on their website. They will also they'll also have it on some of the radio stations, the local radio stations. Channel 5 TV is one station that they almost always post it on. The easiest thing to do, though, to make sure that you find out that NCMC closes, and it's pretty rare that they close, but just if they ever do, if you go under services, yeah, they don't do it very often. But if they actually do, go to Community Connection. And if you go here to Community Connection, then they will, they'll email you. Well, I guess you actually can sign up to where they can either email you or they can text you that they are closing. So that Community Connection is a good resource to be able to use. I can't remember in the last 3 years how many times it really has been. Well, it's been more than once, but I could be wrong. Yeah, it's not very often. So there will definitely, I guess I can't say definitely, but it's highly likely that there will be times that Trenton R9 will be closed and we'll still be in session. So just because the local schools close, the elementary, middle schools, and high schools don't count on the college closing at the same time. Because more than likely we'll continue because you guys are adults and we don't have to drive you on a bus. So, plus we're aiming at getting you guys ready for the workforce, and hardly any jobs ever close just because we have bad weather. If school actually gets closed, or more likely if there's a time that I don't make it to class because of bad weather or whatever, or sickness, there will still be something posted on Blackboard. So even when college we're not in session here, I will still expect you guys to continue to learn. I have the Tegrity videos from previous semesters, so I will probably pull one of those Tegrity videos for you guys to be able to watch the same information that I would have taught had we been in class, and I'll still probably expect you to do some homework with it. So make sure that you do check Blackboard. If either I am not here or the college is closed, either way, there'll probably still be something going. If you're having any problems with anything, get help. The sooner you get help, the better. So you can use the free tutoring centers, use the ARC, use the SSS. Check when I'm going to be in my office and come by and get some help from me. So make sure that you get help quickly, because the longer you wait and the more confused you get, it's harder to back up far enough to get you back to starting where you need to be going forward for things. So make sure you guys do get help when you need it. Academic dishonesty policy, don't cheat. This defines what cheating is and plagiarism and all that kind of stuff. Make sure your work's authentic in your own stuff. Special accommodations, early alert, communications. As far as communications, make sure you guys do check your Blackboard, your SAIL, your especially your Pirate email accounts. Any emails I send you will go to your Pirate email account. Preferably, any email you send me, send it through your Pirate email account. If you send things through Yahoo or Google or all those different things, sometimes those get sent to our trash files that I don't see for quite a while because they think it's spam and all kinds of other stuff. Occasionally, even our Pirate emails go strange places. But most likely, your Pirate emails won't get sent to the wrong places. So make sure you guys do send me stuff through the Pirate emails. That's also more secure. I really don't want to send private information dealing with your grades and that kind of stuff through maybe a Yahoo account that can get hacked into and all kinds of stuff. So we've got the security as far as what's going on and are responsible for what's going on with our Pirate emails. So please use that as you're doing things. Finals getting canceled are very unlikely considering they'll be May. But I guess actually we've had more than one day that we've been canceled in the last 3 years, because we had that one time in May last year that it got canceled, which was really an odd thing. Was that the year before? Yeah, that was really odd. All right. Any other questions you guys had about things? Okay, so next time, I guess I'm planning on just covering sections 1.1 and 1.2. I was wanting to see how much I was wanting to have you guys read. So make sure before you come back to class on Wednesday, I highly recommend that you've read sections 1.1 and 1.2, because that's where we're going to get started on things. Any other questions you guys have? Okay, I have a pre-test that I'd like to give you just to get an idea of how much you already have as background knowledge for statistics. Do not walk away from this saying, I don't belong in here because I don't remember any of this stuff, because I don't expect that you do. If I have people that get 100% on this, it would just floor me, and I actually would probably pull them aside and talk to them about what kind of background they already had. So I don't anticipate that you've known most of this stuff. This is kind of giving me hopefully at the end of the semester, if I was to give you the same pre-test, then hopefully you would actually feel a lot more confident and know what's going on most of this stuff. That's actually part of the goal. So I will compare this actually to parts of the things that are on the final or similar styles of questions. And that way I can have an idea of, did I really teach you anything or not? So when you're done with this, I guess first of all, I want you to put these on the backs of that sheet that you already have. So you've put your name and information on there. This way I don't have to recopy these every semester. Don't write on my papers. Put the answers, they're multiple choice, so just put A, B, C, D on the papers that you guys have. But just do these 3. When you're done, we'll be done with things for today. Most of the time I do take up the entire class period, so most of you will probably be done with it before class is actually officially done. So enjoy the fact that you're leaving a few minutes early. And I will see you guys on Wednesday. Did I give you guys enough, or did I one short, wasn't I? Sorry.